What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classic Line blog. You know I want to say God bless America when I'm standing beside the American flag. And I just want you guys to thank you so much for all your well wishes on, I'm telling my birthdays, passings of my family, this channel, buildings, new construction, old construction, rentals. Listen, the best is yet to come. Thank you so much for the 10 years on this channel. And I just want to thank you for all the things that you guys have contributed to my life and that I contribute to yours. And so listen, I hope this year can be even better, and I hope you grab the book, All Roads Lead to Real Estate. We're talking about digital real estate, online to the real dirt in your hand, and we'll have lots of good commentary inside that book to help you navigate. How can you grow in this economy and also grow and play Monopoly in real life for you and your family? You guys, this doesn't have to be the worst time in our economy. It can be one of the best if you make a decision and move forward in your life. This is your girl, Erica. Thank you. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Listen, what's up? Little late. I was going to do this show. What's interesting and funny about everything is I was going to do this show today. And then, of course, I get a call from my family about somebody in our hometown dying. And I'm like, that's out of my circle of control. Let me tell you what I can control. Nothing. I can send their mama some flowers. And I really wanted to do it because I really want you to understand about how to protect your energy. And they call it reality transurfing, but I know the woo-woo upsets the community. So I'm going to just stick with how to protect your energy and build life momentum. And I have a few clips of what's out of our control, what's in our control. And of course, I got that whiteboard of truth and justice. So come on in and drop your city and state for me. Let me know where you're coming from. It lets me know where to have events, do things. At the end of the day, we may have a pop-up or two. Sometimes we do that. So listen, reality transurfing. Now, sometimes you think people are on planet Pluto or something when you're talking to them. They're just out of it when you're talking to them. And sometimes they are. There are people who are in a low vibrational state all day, all night. They're unaware of others. They're unaware of themselves. They just bump into life. I call them bumper car people. I call them 1994 blacks. I call them a bunch of stuff, which bothers my family, bothers my friends. And today I had a long conversation with one of my aunts. And I was like, well, I'll just send you the notes. Nothing she could say could rattle me. You Republicans be lying. And then da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, hey, auntie, let me just send you the links to the videos and the news, and you can do whatever you want with that. I would not engage in that heavy energy, right? And so what happens is you get to control how you react. That's always going to be true. You get to control how you react in any situation. You get to kind of dictate, and let's take it a step further. You put yourself in certain situations. Now you can say, Erica, sometimes wrong place, wrong person. It just sometimes life happens. This is true. Sometimes we go out of our house, right? And circumstances just unfold, right? Sometimes people can get hit by a car and they didn't do anything wrong, right? These things do happen, but 90% of the time, when I see these stories on the first 48, when I think of this boy that that accidentally stabbed one time the other boy in Frisco. I'm not trying to get y'all riled up on that topic because it's out of our control. What I think is it's all the little steps to get you there that have you stuck. All the little steps and places you put yourself giving you the results you want. Now, I'm on this channel. I try not to tell y'all, like, you just need to move to a new city. I try to get you to move to strategic locations, not just somewhere because they have $600 rent. And then 2 years later, you're crying about the town sucks because, baby, they got $600 rent. You know what type of town you're moving to. I'm talking about before the Hallmark movie town. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to the towns. The Hallmark, you're going to go find your rural man and go live in that town and enjoy it and go to all the functions in town. And then the town after that. Okay. So, but we can take action by who are we talking to? How are we talking to them? How much time do we give to them? Now I'm going to show y'all something foolish. Because I know y'all love y'all Nigerians, man. Nigerian men be good looking. I'm not going to lie to you now. They be looking good. But see, there's a thing called culture. Okay? Listen. and I will address this. I have a live webinar. I think tomorrow. I'll try to make sure I have the links where you guys can join. Going over the Inner Circle Texas Conclave. And she's like, Erica, that 5,000 conclave threw me for a loop. Getting my coins together now. I will be in the Inner Circle by any means. I want you to understand this is why this is important. Diamond Dave had a post earlier today, and I hurry up and liked it. People will be on YouTube for years, myself included, but people on the other end, I'm producing, not just consuming. And they'll consume content, and you'll, hey, like you should do this, you should motivate yourself, you should try this new thing and do this new thing. And every time I notice, if you don't have the accountability, the follow-up group, the follow-up event, the follow-up phone call, the inner circle level kind of conversations, a lot of things don't happen. Part of why I'm doing certain things in my business is I'm in a business leaders who make over a certain number of money, inner circle. And they put us in the hot seat. Did you do this for your business? Did you grow your business? Did you do this? Do you do that? How's your staff going? And the only measurements isn't just money. So I want that to be very clear. The only measurements of success isn't just money. But what happens is a lot of times people say, hey, I watched a YouTube video on that. I'm educated on that already, Erica, and I'll do it later. And later never comes. So my thing to you is when you put money into something, you put energy into it. And somebody's gonna say, man, $5,000 though, Erica? My friend literally paid $50,000 to be in Lifetime Unlimited, Lifestyles Unlimited. And he looked at us and he said, I borrowed this money from my parents. I borrowed it from my credit cards. I'm going to work every single day to make this money back. Now he's a multimillionaire. He made $1.8 million under 18 months or so after he paid that money. But that was because he was like, never, ever, boom, I'm going to get all this money back and then some. So what I want people to understand is when you pay, when you say, hey, I'm paying, I'm showing up, I'm alert, I'm interactive, we're getting here, we're buying stuff. And Fanny, you're in a great location, Nashville, Tennessee. There's a lot of activity going over there. We're over there. I'm here and I'm there. I'm in 3 different cities. But that's something we talk about in the inner circle. And how does that work? We don't do it all by ourselves. I do what's in the circle of my control, and I work within groups of people. And so that is what the inner conclave is, right? The inner circle is literally a specific group of people working together to get things done. Buy land, flip houses, several things. And the reason, because I've made sure I strategically picked certain people to be advisors and helpers along the way. I'm talking about a couple CPAs. I'm talking about a couple of real estate agents, a couple of handyman, a couple other businesses, 1 or 2 roofing company people. I made sure that the people that are in have something of value to give each other. And they're not just in there chilling, right? But even before you get to my inner circle, here on this YouTube channel, here amongst all these people, there are several people who've partnered together. Ty Little, they've partnered with people and they've done tons of stuff, right? Or they've bought real estate after watching the channel or being productive or interacting with me. But what happens is when you have a group of people working together, and every month we're doing a 2 to 3 hour Zoom. Hey, everybody, where's your at? What's your hold up? Is it an architect? Is it this or that? That changes a lot of how fast projects get done, because you're getting on that call. You're showing up every 90 days to an event. You're going to see each other. You got to let us know what happened. What happened? Why the project ain't done? Where is it moving to? And the reason I do this is I know several people who bought land, started stuff, and 2-3 years later, oh man, we still trying to do this. That should have been done already. A surveyor is $400. That should have been done months ago. That's just go and meet with the city. But if you don't have people kind of keeping you accountable, time will sneak away from you. And this is why I talk about building life momentum. This is why I talk about energy transferring. Because what happens is if we say no, immediately, oh man, I can't pay that. Your mind already shut down ways to do it. So I welcome you. I hope you join, but I don't expect everybody to, right? So let me get to the video. Again, I'm talking about what is under your control, what's outside of your control. Now we're going to go to the financial aspect in a second, but I want to show you some clips of things financially and emotionally that are out of your control if you let them. All right. And so we started off, I'm sorry, Nigerians, you have to be the kickoff of the show. I wish it wasn't this way, but y'all be acting up. So here we go. Hope y'all ready. Leave me alone. Okay, let me make sure I get it from here.
take your mother-in-law split. Yes. If you know you want to marry my son, you are supposed to respect me.
Mom, can you?
No, leave me alone.
What's the problem?
Stop it.
Wait,
Mom,
wait. Now.
No, stop it. You have to respect me. I'm not your man. She has to respect me.
She respects
She
you.
has to take my place.
Mom, listen.
Yeah, come on.
Hold on. No,
Listen to me.
Listen to me.
I don't want this.
Mom, listen. Mom, you just right now broke her heart.
She broke my heart too. Leave me alone.
Any other day.
Leave me alone. Don't be a whip for a woman.
I'm not being a woman.
In the Nigerian culture, you are supposed to take your mother-in-law split. Yes. If you know you want to marry my son, you are supposed to respect me.
Mom, can you?
No, leave me alone.
What's the problem?
Stop it.
Wait,
Mom,
wait. Now.
No, stop it. You have to respect me. I'm not your man. She has to respect me.
She respects.
Now you hear what she's saying, right? You have to respect me. You have to take my plate. I'm not your maid. Now, I want you to understand. Nigerians in America kicking butt, education, building houses, development, all of it. But when you go to their country, why the country falling apart? Because we spending all our day and night cleaning up behind our mother-in-law. Now, what other culture does this? India also does it. When you send your daughter to somebody's house, that's what's happening. She's cleaning up behind her in-laws. It's them showing their worth to the family. But they also stay home and watch your baby. You know, if you this is why when y'all be trying to hit me with the other culture stuff, I be laughing. I be like, I actually grew up in neighborhoods with these folks. I actually went over people's parents' house for dinner multiple times. I actually did soccer and events and stuff with these people. If you've lived in parts of DC, parts of Raleigh, there's a lot of culture out there, but a lot of cultures, they spend a lot of time managing the women in those lives. Okay. So what is, and I think that this show, I think they've already gotten married. They're trying to play it off like they haven't got married yet, but I've noticed with the rings and the conversation, I'm like, wait, they're already married. But you know how people play for TV. Unfortunately, a lot of people, I cannot watch this show. I cannot watch the abuse. People sometimes seek out people in these situations. Now, the man is very nice to this woman, but apparently this woman has a long history of parental abuse. And so I would personally say, don't go there. Run. You've already experienced a childhood of abuse. You're going to experience adulthood of abuse. And this don't have to be your cross. Right? It just doesn't. Right? She should run, in my opinion. Because it's not, we live in a culture, Grant Cardone, sell or be sold. That's a real thing. It's whoever has the most, who's ever most convinced wins. And you see the family is convinced that they have to go remove the mother-in-law, and the son corrects the mother, and the mother goes, don't be a whip for a woman. Okay, where's his father at? See, father not there. Because father in Nigerian culture would have popped mama. That part they don't want to say on camera though. Some Nigerians got hands. Okay, so, but this is the thing where I talk about when people say, Erica, you don't understand, my home life is crazy, things are going on. It ain't this crazy. It ain't this crazy. You dig what I'm saying? I'll go get my grandma plate all day. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't crazy like this. Daughter-in-law, yeah. So you know, I just want to show y'all this because y'all be love telling me how y'all gonna go get other cultures. And what's funny on the show is all the men, when the women hit them with, you got to pay my family for some cows. They be like, how much are cows? $90. How many do they need? 20. He's like, man, I ain't got that kind of money. They gonna learn. They're gonna learn. So let me get that out here, because that's to me is just the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Now this is. I'm going to show you another that's out of your control, but you should want to do something about it. Okay. Let me show you this. Okay. And depending on how you spend your time, you'll see this kind of content over and over again. Update: bankrupt genetic testing firm 23andMe wins approval from a judge to sell consumers' medical and ancestry data to the highest bidder to pay creditors. Now, we told these folks out here, all you had to do was go to ancestry.com. Many of these libraries have your family's whole history. There's no genetic test that's going to tell you that you actually Irish because your mama cheated with the mailman. You know what I'm saying? This stuff, you really got to knock it off. Now, there was a lot of people who found their daddy had outside families. I had 2 white people tell me their daddy had an outside family, and their friend's dad had an outside family. And he just had to come clean on it. He's like, oh yeah, they were an hour across town. So when I did all my sales job stuff, milk truck delivery, all kind of stuff, they were across town. And that's where he went to go see them, about an hour away. And they lived their whole lives an hour away. And this is why when y'all tell me, oh, I'm well traveled, Erica, I know everything around my town. And I just want you to understand, like, no, you don't. There's too many people who have a daddy with a whole second family in the town right next to your town. And your cousins or kids might end up dating each other, looking inbred, looking crazy. Because that's how small, like, people don't leave 8 miles outside of their house. They study this stuff all the time. They study this stuff. People, that's why they have so many. You'll drive down the street and be like, why is there so many HEBs? Why is there so many Walgreens? This is overkill. You know, private equity doing too much. No, they do the math on how far it takes you to drive out of your neighborhood, your suburbs, to the Walgreens, to the HEB, to the Walmart, to the gas station. And they know data is showing from years of them collecting traffic tickets, traffic, where people drive, all that stuff, that you on average drive 8 miles from your house. Okay. That's why when people tell me, oh, I know I've been all over this state. You ain't. It's okay. You ain't got to sell me on it. Part of why in the Land Grab 2024, we talk about virtual and how we're using the computer in the different cities and the different states and those maps is because that's how the winning is done. Because most people aren't going to go 8 miles past where they're familiar. They're not going to drive in neighborhoods they've never been into. They're not going to look on Google for areas they don't think they want to live in. And that's why they don't win. That's why they can't find any deals, because they don't look past the normal 2 or 3 neighborhoods they want to be in. The other day for the class, I think a video 2 of 3, I've showed y'all a whole area. I was looking for this area, hadn't locked into the other day, and found it while I was doing the video with y'all. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's that way. Oh, let's make that in my notes. Let me just go ahead and put that in my notes. But that's how fast it can be if you actually just zoom in on an area and kind of zoom out to what's desirable and where people are moving. But there's some things under your control that's daily under your control, right? Again, once you give your DNA swab to somebody, it's gone. You've seen what happened in Chicago and some of these cities when they started having DNA record bases. They were finding all kind of rapists and murderers. And guess what? Half of them was dead. And sometimes they never even processed the kits. So, you know, you see what kind of people you're dealing with here. The police don't care. They ain't trying to do no kind of job. All right, let me show you this. This is, I'm going to show you another, you know, it's out of our control, but it should be noted. Because people have a tendency, oh, we got to do something about the homeless. We got to donate to the homeless. If we just keep donating and donating and donating and donating and donating and giving money and ma'am, stop. You know how we stop homeless? You build a 1,000 bed medical hospital. You come out there. You tell them, you start making the police and the buses, the medical buses drive around. Hey, we're here to see if you need help or care. People gonna get real sane real quick. Oh no, I don't need to go there. No, sir, we're here to take you to the medical hospital to see if you're okay. Now I don't know if you ever watched that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, but it's like if somebody declares you insane, who's there to declare you sane, right? So you want to clear the streets of California, you know, New York, parts of Texas, build a 1,000 bed facility. Start making the bus drive around and have the 2 bodyguards come and grab people, put them on the bus. Man, them homeless people gonna get up and get moving. Like, oh, we can't stay here? No problem. Let me get out of here. Everybody else in the group gonna be gone. Y'all don't want to hear that because we don't live in that type of country anymore. 1950s, that's what they was doing. Go back and read a lot of these reports. They was riding around. You was homeless. You was a vagabond. You was a transient. You better get sane real quick in the conversation or you was getting a ride to the medical facility. And they did that often. That's how they attacked one of those country music stars. But that's another conversation.
$837,000 to house a single homeless person in LA. And if we multiply 837,000 by the number of homeless people, which is 75,000, we get $62 billion. So obviously the math ain't mathin'. Let's also not forget to mention that LASA and its CEO, Valicia Adams Kellum, is currently being sued for obfuscating information from the public. Like, I'm not saying everything is fraudulent, but it seems like these folks are up to something. Oh, and by the way, LASA has recently taken down their entire leadership page. Definitely what accountable organizations do. A searing audit has found that the city of LA has failed to properly track billions of dollars in homeless spending. No, this is wrong, because it's actually so much worse. And as usual, I got all the receipts. Let me show you. So the majority of funding from LAHSA, LASA, the LA Homeless Services Authority, goes to something called bridge housing, okay? $320 million. Now, bridge housing is basically temporary housing that they've built to house people. Here's one that they've built in Venice Beach. Now let's check out the details. It cost them $8.6 billion to build this particular complex in Venice Beach. And most of that money, $5.6 million, came directly from the city. There are 154 beds in total, costing them $56,000 per bed. And this is what it looks like inside. Kind of looks like an office, except beds instead of desks. $56,000 to build one of these cubicles. Now, I'm not a construction expert, but this seems kind of sus. And on top of that, it's costing the city $3.4 million a year to operate this bridge housing, which is another $22,000 per bed. But where it gets even sketchier is who the city has contracted to operate this bridge housing. In this case, we have two nonprofits, PATH and SPY. Now, PATH, I've done a dive on them before, but they are the nonprofit that has collected tens of millions of dollars from the city to keep buildings vacant, buildings that were supposed to be used for shelter. Their CEO, Jennifer Hart Dietz, makes nearly $400,000 a year, probably even more now. And here she is, ending homelessness with Gavin Newsom. Now, the other operator, SPY, which stands for Safe Place for Youth, is a nonprofit that focuses on youth homelessness, is run by this lady named Erica Hartman. Now, Erica Hartman, as it turns out, is a former board member for the LA Homeless Services Authority, and in fact, an active board member when this contract was given out. Now, that seems like a conflict of interest. So just like we have a revolving door in the military industrial complex, in the pharmaceutical industrial complex, we also have a revolving door in the homelessness industrial complex. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we end up with insane figures like $837,000 to house a single home.
Now, if they want to give me $1 billion, I will come to Texas. I will come from Texas to California. I will build, guess what? The most beautiful facility. And guess what? I'll go get some buses. I'll go personally pick the people up and I will put them up in there. Because trust me, if we go back to, and this didn't start in the 80s, people say, Ronald Reagan, they privatized everything. No. That's when you saw the uptick. This started actually under the Kennedys. This started under the Kennedys. They were like, yeah, we don't need this many medical facilities. But what they weren't accounting for was all these veterans who were coming from the war that we was going to put up in them places. Okay. And so this is why I want y'all to understand. Okay. It's a racket. This is why when I'm talking about, nonprofits, again, what is under the circle of your control? What is your reality? If you talk to somebody, their reality is, I donate to charities because they take care of the homeless. It's somebody else's job. It's not my job. I don't want to hear about this, Erica. Same thing with the government fraud. It's somebody else's job. Somebody's doing it. So let me show this one. And y'all gonna be thinking, man, she spent every day beating up on nonprofits. No, that's not what I used to work in one. And so worked in two. And also became, through United Way, it became Multicultural Leadership Board Development. So I can be on boards, but when you get in those rooms, you realize a lot of things. You can get a lot done in society outside of this. But here you go.
To escape responsibility.
This is $250 million, the largest mastermind fraud, and it's 70 people involved. Somalians and Americans working together, okay?
Conspiracy, wire fraud, and bribery charges. There are 2 of 70 defendants accused of falsifying meal counts, invoices, and attendance rosters, claiming to have served food to thousands of kids per day across Minnesota, all to get reimbursed with hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars.
These are criminals that preyed on a system that was meant to feed children.
Instead of feeding children, Bach and Saeed allegedly created dozens of shell companies to receive the money and launder it, all to fund their lavish lifestyles, buying luxury cars and real estate. Authorities so far have recouped only $60 million of the $250 million stolen.
We just need to make sure that we put up more firewalls, more security, more ability to make sure that these criminals aren't able to prey on this.
Both are held without bail, expected to face substantial prison time when they're sentenced.
A jury in Minnesota has found the ringleader of what's been called the largest pandemic-era fraud scheme in the country guilty on all charges. Amy Bach, the founder of Feeding Our Future, now convicted in a plot that stole nearly $250 million from a federal program meant to feed children in need.
All right, okay, I don't want to play it 50 times for y'all, but I want you to understand the whole nonprofit system. Let me say it like I want to say it. She is not in the class or the networks to have gotten away with this that long. How do I know? They buying cars and buying real estate and doing goofy stuff, right? Goofy, right? There are people who on the East Coast that I know have their grandparents been running that nonprofit years. They own a trailer park over off Fayetteville. They own multiple daycares. They own multiple, and he's never had a problem. There's a guy in Dallas who is head honcho, and everybody has to run through him to get money in Dallas in this particular area because he's been working them government contracts so long. Again, when the community says it's somebody else's fault or somebody else's job to cut your kid's hair, feed your kid, take care of your kid, clothe your kid, it's always some teacher's fault. This is what happens. But think about this. You had 70 people in on this. So they squeezing all them people, right? She really the one gonna go to jail for the longest because they're gonna squeeze everybody else. They made her sentence real harsh. Everybody else is gonna start talking tomorrow. Can I get a year? Can I get 6 months? Can I keep the second house? Can I run my money around? They'd have had to find me. They'd be like, where you at? I'm out of the country. But this is stuff that, again, this hurts. This hurts people. This money comes from taxpayers. Are you going to say, Erica, I thought we were talking about things that are in our control, within our power, like our money, and our energy, and how do we protect our energy? I'm going to show you. Hold on. Don't be impatient. It's a slow cook. These videos be a slow cook. I try to make them fast. They don't always work the way. Look at here in Austin. Woo! Austin churches are answering their prayers for affordable housing by building it themselves. Standing in the pulpit Sunday in March is Reverend Daryl Horton of Mount Zion Baptist Church in East Austin. Prayed for a swift approval of building permits and asked that, as anyone familiar with bureaucracy knows, requires nothing short of a God-given miracle. Y'all keep praying for the city as those permits keep going through. Horton told 100-some worshipers seated in the pews at his feet, we're going to get it taken care of so we can continue to build what God has called us to build. Over the coming years, Horton will likely need to appeal to his congregation again. Why? Because churches that actually do stuff have structure. It's not just one man and a bunch of women all over there doing whatever they want to do and Pentecostal. They actually have structure. They actually have office administration. They actually have actual office hours. They don't run a building fund because this is already a really nice building in East Austin. They already built it. Okay. They have structure. See, people don't want to hear that part though. They want to go to the hole in the wall church and say all black churches got a pimp running them and goofiness. No, that your mama felt comfortable there. The woman usually 9 times out of 10 dictates what church the family go to. The dad can be like, I love this church. And the mom be like, I ain't going. They ain't going to go. Okay. So 9 times out of 10, if you are at a ratchet, unstable, out of control church with no staff, no organization, no healthy ratio of men and women, not productive, stagnant behavior, your mama chose to be there. Just like you're choosing to be there. Erica, you don't know God called me there. Cool. Keep that. I don't know what's between you and God. That he told you in the mirrors, that's what he told you. But this is what you should be seeing from a church who's in the middle of a city that's buying up everything it can touch. And your congregation is having to move further and further and further, and all these people moving out. What is the church's job? Just to talk to your well-being? just to talk to you about just hold on, just preserve, wait till you get to heaven. No, the church should be serving its community. Should have been serving East Austin, but let's keep it pushing. The church recently partnered with a developer to replace 10 bungalows with 80 apartments on the property it owns. The hope is one day it will rent these homes to seniors, maybe even church members, at prices they can afford. Horton's congregation is all too familiar with the issues of affordable housing. East Austin has been the epicenter of rising home prices in the city. Median values of homes has doubled in the past decade, faster than prices citywide. Horton estimates half of his congregation commutes to service from nearby suburbs, where many have moved in search of cheaper housing. It's such a tragedy to see how quickly East Austin has changed. But what a joy is it for the people to spend their twilight years where they started. Mount Zion grows a growing number of faith organizations in Austin, intent on building low-cost housing. As fewer people attend services in person, some religious leaders are taking stock of the empty space and wondering if it can be used to fulfill a tenet of their faith to those in need. The trend is dubbed YIGBY, or yes, God in God's backyard. It's a play on yes in my backyard, right? It's a response of not in my backyard, which is a term that many in the city, like, we don't need more affordable housing. Okay. So you can go look these people up. You look up these. This is where they had owned all these bungalows and trailers and all that other stuff. And so they were like, look, we're going to tear these down. We're real sorry. And we're going to put up an apartment building so y'all can come back. Even more people. Okay. So this right here is St. Austin's Catholic Parish. They brokered a deal to build affordable housing on the land they own. He's nearly working with half a dozen other churches in Austin for the same deal. The Catholics be running heavy here. Okay. Catholic Charities does a really great job here. I've volunteered with them. I've worked with them. They got some money. They got some money. So this is one of the things I would say is under your control. You should be interacting with churches, people who, what are we going to do? Not woe is us. Let's pray about it. Let's cry about it. I don't know what to do. Stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, there's money coming to the church, right? There's money coming to church every weekend. What's happening? What are we doing? People need a project to work on. Oh yeah, California. I mean, California is one of the most corrupt places ever. I would say when they say Louisiana's corrupt, I'm like, well, California giving it a run for its money. No, Chicago's corrupt. I think California is giving it, every one of those corrupt states, a run for their money. They just have nicer weather, but the numbers are astronomically retarded. Like tech kicked off in San Francisco, in California, and so there's no reason the state should have a homeless person, a bad school, overrun with illegal. None of that stuff should be happening. This has been systematically happening, and people have voted it into. So, oh man, I mean, every day, what is the breakdown of those salaries, right? Again, so what are churches doing in response? How are you going to keep people invested in church, invested in how do we really serve the community? It's got to be more than talk. It's got to be more than talk. They have to stand up and they have to take action. And that's the thing people really are, oh man, we have to do work. Yeah, man, got to do work. So one more time, I'm going to show another one that's out of our control and go back to the board on how we make income off all this. Now, people hate Doge. Y'all still hating Doge, but it's important. We need to see this data. Just like y'all, every day y'all run around talking about how we need to arrest all these PPP fraud people. Let's get them all. Let's get them all. Okay. So Doge has covered $382 million in fraudulent unemployment claims. And guess what? California, New York, and Massachusetts top the list. That's why when y'all be like, how are these New Yorkers just traveling everywhere? They must have money. I'm just messing. An annual review found 24,500 people over 115 years old got $59 million. They're like, it's just a glitch. No problem. You can tell me there's a glitch in the system. Where did that check go and who cashed that check? That's a very simple question. When I told y'all the white collar crimes division of the FBI was going to be exhausted the next couple of years, I meant that. They're going to pick some that they want to do and some they don't. They're going to spread these cases out over the next 10 years. They're going to take their time. They're going to come get people. Don't worry. 28,000 toddlers ages 1 to 5 claimed $254 million. These are some wealthy toddlers. 9,700 individuals with birth dates up to 15 years in the future claimed 69 million, including one person born in the year 2154 who pocketed 41,000. Now, this is what I need you to understand. They could literally tomorrow go find these people because somewhere the check landed. The check went to a bank account and the bank account did what? They used the money. This is why I want you to understand a lot of this stuff when y'all talk about automation going to take jobs. Automation has already taken lots of things. Automation is all over the government. The government just processes stuff. They just keep processing it through. There's a glitch. There's a problem with the date. These are all things that should have been flagged in the computer to kick it out. Right? It said if they were an identifiable culprit, you would have heard about it. This is bovine extremist. No, I mean, this is the thing. What people don't realize is a committee, which is Doge, they're only allowed to identify. It's all the cities and states' opportunity to pursue legal action, right? It just is, right? So they confirmed California, New York, Massachusetts were responsible for 305 million of the claims. So that meant the other 82 million were spent on other states. California alone was behind 68% of unemployment payouts made to parolees flagged by CPB on the terrorist watch list or criminal records. Okay. So again, what are some things in our control? What are our control, right? Let me go find you this thing I want to show you real quick. And we'll have a friendly word from Master at IT, Mr. Robert Dwayne Roberts, friend of the channels. Let's pull it up.
Or when you say something, you and everybody around you know you full of shit. How often do you actually complete things? You know, what is your level of execution? And I'm gonna tell you this right now: shit is never gonna be perfect, and you're never gonna find the right time. So you might as well do it right now. A lot of you, I gotta wait until the summer. I gotta wait until the winter. I gotta wait until my kids do this, or I gotta wait until I got some more money. You need to do it right now. There's so many people that literally by the time they feel that they have the perfect conditions, they have the perfect thought process, things have passed them by. It's already over with. When you say something, do you follow through? Or when you say something, you and everybody around you know you full of shit. How often do you actually?
I just had to play that when I saw. I said, "Oh, is he cussing on Instagram today?" Everybody know. Okay. Now let's get to it. Let me pull up the whiteboard. If this has been helpful at all, let me guys put one in the comments if it has. If it hasn't, it's okay. Let me put this up on the wall here if I can get to it. Okay, boom, here we go. I know y'all tired of these triangles, but you're gonna have to keep seeing them, baby. You're just gonna have to be tired. Let me make this bigger actually. Let me make it bigger for the sake of for all our eyeballs so we can all see. Okay. Let me make this bigger and get it out of here. I'm bold it too. I'm bold it. There we go. Let's put it at the top. There we go. I feel better. You know what I'm saying? When I see it, I feel better when it looks better. This one got too many words. So y'all just got to work with it on this one. This one's going to be, ooh, that's too big. All right. We just got to work with what we got. And I'll read some of this to you. This is the most important one. Okay. Boom. All right. Can we see it? Bomb the builder. Bomb the builder. Can we build it? Bomb the builder. It just makes you feel better. Whiteboards make you feel better. I don't know about y'all, but whiteboards make me feel better. Make me feel like we organized just for a second. Okay, just for a second. Okay. Now let's get into it. Woo! All right, I hope y'all ready. No one, I meant to put no one will care enough to share your product more than you. Whatever product or service you want to talk about, you have to promote it. Now, I really want to say no one will care about your career, your kids, your spouse, your mama and them, your aunties, more than you will. No one's going to be more concerned about it than you. I have one aunt who is a kid-free aunt. And she older. She retired twice now. She's like, how many more jobs I need to work? She doing taxes right now because every year she do people taxes. I love that for her. Brings in her some cash and she gets something to do with her day. She's going to Greece in 2 weeks. Later this summer, she's going all over Italy. She's going all over parts of Europe on one of them cruises, some older people cruises. I said, you know what? I need to go with you. You really out here living. I need to go with you. I need to check on you. I feel like I need to check on you. But she's going with a group of bunch of ladies in their 60s, and they just be out here living. And the reason they're out here living is they built up life momentum. I know you're thinking people get old, everything's downhill. No, it's a great time. Any time is a great time to build up life momentum. Okay? Now, how do I explain that? Money can't be your only purpose. It's an indicator, but it's not the only indicator. And sometimes, like the other day, I showed y'all the video with Grant Cardone, and I put it behind the paywall because I just know the drama, right? But the reason it was so sad is it's like, you sued my kids. Oh, I didn't sue your kids. Not me personally. My company did. That's the weakest cop-out ever. He tried to take personal responsibility off the table for himself and put it on the company. That's whack. That's just whack, okay? So money can't be your only moniker to show how well life is going for you. So I'll put over here to have a well-rounded life. It's just as a general. This is not a definite. These are things under your control. Vacations every 60 to 90 days. Conferences every 90 days or 180 days. Monthly dinners with friends and family. Because people will give you these stories. Girl, these kids, oh my God, these kids. And they sitting at home in their drawers with a sweatshirt on, just sitting around watching Netflix. But they tell you these kids wearing them out. Like, girl, stop, right? Same thing with your family, right? Cut it out. And hobbies, weekly or bi-weekly. So one of the things I'm going to do is record my golf lessons and my tennis workouts. And I'm just going to share it with y'all. One of those boring day in the lives. So you guys can see, how do people build out a well-rounded week? You know, if you really do one activity a week, that's 52 activities in a year. And people don't think about that, but that is actually a really lot of activities because the average person is doing a lot of sitting at home doing nothing, not involved. That's why when you see these Hallmark movie shows in the smaller town, a lot of people are involved in everything that goes on, the town play, the church, the working at the school system. Like everybody knows each other because they have to get out of their house and have community. In bigger cities, people are allowed to kind of not do their part. So everything that young people complain about not having community or the loneliness epidemic, you don't want to pick your friends up from the airport. You want them to call an Uber. You don't want to make dinner for your friends. You want to meet them somewhere. Then y'all want to complain about having to split the bill. A lot of the stuff that would require you to build a community, going dancing, going to music concerts, doing stuff, like that's the part that makes life worth living, is interacting with people and doing things. Now, what happens is people get in their 40s and 50s and try to tell you I have plenty of energy, Erica. I can fight a bear. And I'd be like, look, you can tell me whatever you want. I look outside my door. I see how people shuffle to their car, barely picking up their feet and barely climbing out the vehicles, and they be in their 40s and 50s. You can't convince me on that, okay? You never will. So what happens is most people start having kids and families, and so at that point, oh, well, it's the kids. And then you wake up. That's why you look on YouTube right now. There's this huge population of people in their 50s and 60s on YouTube, is because they've got to the end of that. That life momentum of, oh, the kids. Them kids is 32 years old. What are you talking about? They got their own families. They got their own stuff going on. So a lot of these videos are people talking about salsa dancing later in life, activities later in life. You got a lot of women on the internet acting like they didn't know they was going to be old one day, talking about beauty in the 50s and 60s. And I just be like, you have to have something more than that. You have to be more than a decoration. So that's why I put over here, money can't be its only purpose, and looking good can't be your only purpose either. You have to there has to be something. I love when I hear Arnold Schwarzenegger say, he never poses in public anymore, but when he's at home by himself, he'll do it. And it's hard though. Look at yourself. as you've gotten older, you know, Arnold was a fine thing now. But it's life. That's life, right? These are some of the, when I put South America, Asia, Wander, and Europe, those are some of the trips I'm doing this year. I always have a trip in the summer called Wonder, where I just sit around and float off in the sky because the location requires it. Okay. Now, you're going to say, Erica, all this is beautiful. This is very beautiful. This is a great ideal, but this costs money. How am I going to afford weekly, bi-weekly hobbies, Erica? Dinners with friends and family. I'm splitting the bill at Dan Jack in the Box with them. How am I going to afford conferences and vacations? Erica, that is a beautiful ideal, but I can't do it. Well, you've already said you can't do it, so you can't do it, right? But I would recommend to follow the pattern on the right side. Now, what is the pattern on the right side? I cover 4 different business models. All the way at the bottom, we talked about it in those classes. I actually do a deeper dive inside the land grab course. So the land grab course, when we go over, I think it's like 7 videos down, I talk about how to have ultimate motion. There's a thing in the Law of Power book about stirring the waters. There's a way to stir the waters that you're going to keep having motion. And we'll talk more about it in there. But at the bottom, I talk about the digital real estate business, local SEO pages, local SEO service, selling to contractors. You're just a business that bridges the business. You are the bridge to customers for those service businesses. So again, every month, that is one way people create digital real estate. They'll spend $200, $300 building up a page for SEO, building up a phone number, an office number. And guess what? There's a company called Remote Latinas. For those of you in the class, you know what I'm talking about. We've talked about it in the class, land grab class, Remote Latinas, or if you haven't gotten to that video yet, we will. They're a call center. All these people that are south of Texas work in a lot of call centers. People in Belize have American accents because they speak English in Belize and use American dollar. So they've got call centers for $11 an hour. So you literally can be having these websites and these phone numbers where people are calling, looking for service, looking for business, looking for opportunity. And you can turn around and sell it to a contractor or a builder or anybody with a business for $750 to $1,000 a month, to $2,000 a month. And we talk a lot about that inside there. That's one type of business, right? Next level business is, and these are internet, so these are digital if you want to consider it that way. Internet biz is control the flow of the money, the affiliate, the private label, the course, right? People come to me. I know 1 or 2 things happen. They hit my affiliate link, or they go eventually, because they've been hearing me talk about a person over and over again, they go talk to the person directly. It's not a big thing off my back. What I tell people is, if I was a Mr. Beast, if I was a somebody with these huge channels, that would never matter to me, because there's hundreds of affiliates that guys does. Just like HGTV and all these other, there's hundreds of like links, right? Bigger Pockets was big on not letting David Green and the other guy promote their business, Henry Washington. And it didn't matter, because as long as you kept seeing their face on Bigger Pockets, you were going to go do what? You're going to go Google them. You're going to go look up what they're doing. You're going to look up if they had private speaking events in Arkansas or wherever they would be at, and you would go to them. So, you know, David Green blowing through $30-40 million made no sense, but it only makes sense if you realize so many people were coming through the funnel that was Bigger Pockets and spilling over the side. So he was able to rack it up for years. Now he's having to restructure, because guess what? He's not on Bigger Pockets right now. And people, y'all underestimate how, I'm not going to say lazy, but how comfortable people get. They want you to be constantly advertising to their face. No, Erica, I hate ads. I don't want people advertising me. You do. Because every time I hear somebody, oh man, I forgot about this thing, or I forgot about toilet tissue, or I forgot about, you name the stuff, they forgot about it at the house, or forgot to put it on their list at the grocery store. Advertising is what reminds them. And people will try to play you like, oh, I hate ads. I really do. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't hate them, because you be in here talking about them. Did you see this ad that was on here? Sorry, I put my little 4K camera up. So then the next one, but there's leakage in that business, which we talked about it. There's leakage in that business. And I'll go deeper into Digital Liberty Warriors and some of the groups. I'll do a more in-depth video. E-com, right? You say, man, I want to be e-com, Erica. People were on the lazy side, which was drop shipping. You had no control of the quality of product. You can get them and send you samples, but don't mean every sample is going to be like that. You had no control over the shipping times. So people say, well, I'll ship it out. I'll post it to Amazon. I'll put it on a private label and I'll market it. But what's also the leakage in that e-com business? Amazon don't give you the list of people. Now your company, your company, if you, again, most people are going to do FBA. They're going to fulfillment by Amazon because it's easier. It makes it automation. But again, you have no access to who those customers are. Unless you're saying on the website, unless you're saying on the bottle, unless you're saying in the shipping, hey, if you tag us on Instagram, we'll give you 15% off, 20% off, something off, right? Unless you do that, there's leakage in that business. You have to keep serving whatever Amazon wants. Even if it's a private label, you may get that private label, you may get thousands of product for a few $100, but you don't have control over the audience unless you have what? A website. So there's leakage in that business. Let's go up to the top. This is, if you see on the left and the right-hand side, I put on the left-hand side, I've got land at the bottom, owner financing at the top. On the bottom to the right, I have funding. Upper top right here, I have investors, private banking. Hold on, I'm gonna do like this. Can y'all see the pen? All right, so funding, owner financing, land, investors, private banking. We are in a credit asset-based society. You becoming the bank is what controls the flow of a lot of this. Now, I could have did a circle, but don't matter. All right, so builders, insurance, appraisers, CPA, accountants, inspectors, architects, wholesalers. These people work together way more than they think they do. And if you are the person who gets the land, we can do this as cheaply as $3,000, $5,000, $20,000, and you start turning it through the tunnel of activity. This is what I'm going to call this line. And you're like, hey man, I need some write-ups. I need you to come inspect the land. I need to talk to my accountant, make sure my paperwork look good so I can get a loan on this. Appraiser is going to tell me what's going on in that area, but I may not have to pay for appraisal, right? Insurance, can I insure this area? Is it a working area? Is it a flood zone? And then I'm going to work with the builders. Now, what happened? I controlled the base of the activity. And I also control the interaction on this level, on this tunnel, right? And at the end of the day, between the land and the funding and going through this tunnel, I'm going to spit out a product that's going to be, if the land is $5K and the house and the product is a $500,000 house, somewhere in between there is my spread. Does that make sense? Did I lose any of y'all? I'm going somewhere, but if I lost you, it's okay. So you can tell me if I lost you. Let me know in the comments. Yes, it's understandable, or no, it's okay, because I can repeat it a different way. Hobbies as an adult is super important to feel fulfillment, preferably something active for sure. Heading to charity / benefit gala this Easter weekend. My second and third one this year. I enjoy getting suited and booted for cause. And that's a big thing, Darkman Jeff. There's going to be a lot more galas, a lot more events. People are seeking community. They want to get it. You know what I mean? They want to be around others who are productive. You know, you see how they out in there with them, where them fans at. They outside all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Can I repeat it again, please? To some degree, yes. Okay. And I'll kind of breeze. I'm not going to repeat this whole part, but I'm just saying these are businesses that have leakages, right? Digital business where I'm putting all these leads to this website. I'm paying money. I'm getting Google ads to it. And I'm selling the leads and the phone calls and everything to some contractor. Any month that contractor just not pay and be like, no, I don't do it this month. And I got to go find another person to do this. Right? Unless I own my own company too. But I'm basically giving these leads. I'm selling all the time to get someone else to buy me these leads. It's a low cost entry business. And what I'm going to spend a lot of time getting SEO, but it's leakage in this because they're month to month. So I have to have a Rolodex of builders, a Rolodex of plumbers, a Rolodex of welders, a Rolodex of roofers. And I'm always going to be having to be at their beck and call and beg them to buy the SEO, right? Buy the leads. That's one business. So it has leakage. Internet business, as far as, and I should call this one internet business. I should call it YouTube, Instagram, any of those. The control of the flow of money is the most important, right? If I got affiliates, I'm still going to have a ton of leakage because some people are just not going to use my link. They're just going to go around me. That's okay. And they can do that. It doesn't matter. Private label. I private labeled something, but they probably can find something similar. Courses are just information. The execution is what it depends. So there's leakage in that business, right? There's leakage in the internet business. E-com. There's leakage in that business if you try to do drop shipping, if you try to shortchange yourself. Like, I'm a private label and use Amazon. Amazon has the list of the customers. You do not. Fulfillment by Amazon, they can ship it 2-day shipping, but you'll never know who they're shipping it to. So you're always at the beck and call of Amazon. You're working for Amazon. That's the leakage. How do you have, I'm not going to say ultimate control, but have dominant control? Like, the money starts with you and rolls through you. You become the bank. You are the builder, Bob the builder. Okay. So if I get the land, okay, let's say I get the land. If you look inside the class, we have the easiest business model is subdividing a 1-acre land lot. If you go inside the class land grab, that's where that is. Go over there. Please review that. Please read that if you're in the class. Alan, are you inside? Are you inside land grab 2025? Are you in land grab 2025? If you are, you should watch video 2 of 3, and we show you that. We actually show you 5 to 15K lots that we turn into $680,000 houses. If you're in the land grab course, go look at video 2 of 3 of finding land, and we actually show you 5 to 10 acre land lots that go into $680,000 houses. So that's where you'll find it. Go find that video. It's inside the course, and you can go see it there. Okay. So if you control the land, because Rex asked me to read it, if you control the land, you own the land. Okay. And a lot of people, what did I just tell y'all earlier about things not in their control, things they can't do? They just want to look in the city. They live in the city. They don't want to drive too far. They don't want to be uncomfortable. Other day I drove to a land lot and I was like, oh, this is a 45-minute drive. I'd hate to have to come out here and keep checking on this. But what's the complaint? You're building a $500,000 house. You got the land for pennies on dollars. So what? You have to drive 45 minutes. But you have to realize that's how lazy people are. They're like, I got to drive 45 minutes out here. If I turn around and drive back, it's going to be 1 hour, 30 minutes. And I had to tell myself, what's the benefit at the end of it? Okay, Alan, you're watching 103 now. Okay, well then when you get to 2, you'll see what I'm talking about. And 3 should be in there later tonight, and a couple other videos should be updated tonight. So we go over here. Okay, let's finish what we was doing. If I own the land, let's try it one more time. And I'm stirring up the water, because listen, you ain't just buying land and nobody sees you, nobody hears about you. What you'll see, a lot of people will put a billboard or a sign in the yard and say, hey, we buy houses, we buy land, give us a call. And you should be mailing all the neighbors. Well, I think that's in video 4 or 5, where you're mailing the neighbors once you do this process, because they might also be selling, or their grandma might be selling, or somebody else want to get up out of there or want to be paid. Now, you own the land. Now, again, ignore the wholesaler for a second. You're going through this process. You're going through the tunnel of entitlements. You're going through the tunnel of make it more valuable, right? If this is hobby land, you ain't got to do much. Leave it a hobby land. Leave it a hunting land. Leave it woods that's just out there. People like to go camp on. But if it's going to be something you're going to turn into development, something you're going to be advancing with, you're going to go through this tunnel of people. And at the end of the deal, right, you need to make sure you have some type of funding. There's a couple ways to do this. If you got 50K, we know a route you can do it this way. If you don't have 50K, there's a combination of stuff that's going to get you here. And once you do it one time, man, it's printing money. Okay. So that's why I tell people when I'm explaining this stuff out here in public on YouTube, it doesn't help you just because you know these things, or I say, hey, go take my class and go find out all the steps, how to follow the steps and how to do this. If you're in the Inner Circle Conclave, we're actively have a combination of these actual people so that we can keep doing this all the time for everybody in the group. Just keep flowing. Because if you get something, it's like a step-by-step, what I tell people. Let's say I had 12 steps in the deal. There'd be 12 steps for me to follow. I put a step in my hand. I put it in my hand. I'm like, yes, I've got it. Now you got to keep going through the checkoff points. But sometimes it's easier to hand off pieces of a project so that it gets done to others. So if you know, hey, man, I got to call the architect, follow with the architect. Okay, man, I got to book a inspector about a month from now. And you'll just kind of work through a deal. That's why you'll hear several people in there say, man, I just build 1 or 2 houses a year. I make as much as a doctor, tenant, more than that, right? If I'm going to make 100 to 150K on a property, sometimes we do luxury style, 250, 300. You do 2 or 3 of those a year, Really, if you just do 4 a year, you're a millionaire. But it started with you over here controlling the land, because see, people want to skip steps. Now, how do people skip steps? They want to go ahead and buy already made houses. Oh, I'm just going, everything in my neighborhood is overpriced. We hear this on the internet every day. Everybody's running around crying about how expensive stuff is. The houses are overpriced. And as soon as you say, won't you build it yourself? Well, I don't know where some land would be. Where would land be? All these things are, if you realize, people don't want to try, right? People don't want to try. That sounds too difficult. That's where you win. That's where you get ahead of most folks, because people don't want to call people. People don't want to send out direct mail weekly. People don't want to follow up. People don't want to see what's going on over here and have to clean up a piece of land lot, right? And now that land lot from 5K to 10K to 30K went to worth being 100K, because it's already got the city water to it. It's got the sewer connected. It's got the lights, right? Entitlements. We talked about that in the class as well. But people don't want to do that. So now you have to realize, in order to control the flow of money, in order to control the flow of opportunity, in order to care enough about yourself, you have to put something in motion. Now you may say, Erica, these are the easiest for me to start because these are lower cost of entry, cheaper, easier, digital. I can do that, Erica. Teach me more about this. And you can. Digital Liberty Warriors. We break down a lot of stuff in there all the time, every day, right? I'll have a video for them I'm going to throw in there in shortly. But if you want to go higher up and you say, man, I need a big payout for my energy, my time, my kids being bothered, go here. Grab the Land Grab course 2025. We go over a lot of the steps, a lot of the ways you can, if you want to stay simple over here, making 5 to 10K a month, maybe 10 to 20K, you're just getting traction, moving things. You can do that. You can literally have land flipping business. You can do that. Now, on top of the land flipping, once you start doing this, I promise you, this is what's going to happen. Somebody going to say, hey, my auntie got an old house. Hey, do you also buy this? Can you buy that? Hey, I know this trailer park. People are going to start flowing to you. And not to go woo-woo. But once you start knowing all these people and your conversation switches up and your energy, you're golfing with some of these people, you're tennising with some of these people, you're doing lunch with some of these people, the energy is different. The focus is different. There's one Asian guy on YouTube. He's super funny, young guy. He moved to New York. He was in a group of realtors, real estate agents, and creative financing. Well, he got tired of doing creative financing. So he sold his stake that he had with a group of people. And now he wants to do something different. He's like, oh my God, I have to create a whole new identity, because everybody I know, all they're talking about is how to get super creative financing. And the problem is with creative financing is, the better you get your credit and your funding, some savings, okay, some funding, really some lines of credit, some funding for your business, some traction, some motion. These numbers get lower and the ease of business gets smoother. But the reason why people are so like, Erica, I just need to have an internet business that I can just work for an hour a night. My kids are driving me crazy. Everything's out of control. And I just needed to be easy, and I needed to be low effort, and I needed to just be able to do it in an hour. I'm okay with you doing that. You can get here. You can start here. You can start on the lower part of the triangle. Stay there. Start there. It's okay. Make money. Make it 10, 20K a month. But what eventually happens, 6 months to a year, 3 years, 4 years, you're tired of doing the same over and over and over again. You want to challenge yourself to more. Or you look out and say, I need to invest in some rentals. These rentals are overpriced. This math don't math. I could build for cheaper. Yes. That is how you realize the circle of your control, what you can control. Okay. Did I lose y'all? Hope that wasn't boring. Everybody understood. Everybody understand? Put a 1 in the comments. Does it need to be explained more? Everybody get it? I hope so. We're at an hour and I didn't want to be this late, but it's essentially what this show is about. Is no one's going to care enough to share your product more than you. And that product could be anything, your business, your life, your love, your whatever, your kids. You should want to talk to people about what you're doing. You should want to let people know. Why do people not tell people about crypto and all this other stuff? Well, people are going to think I'm a scammer. They're going to think I'm a this. People need places to stay and places to live. If you show them, hey, I got some trailers over here, some land lots, some this I'm doing or that. Most people are like, oh, well, she over there got motion. Let me go help her. Let me go get into the flow of the motion. That's a lot of people. They much rather get into the flow of the motion. Like wherever the motion is, they're going to go to it because it saves them all a lot of trouble. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. Hope you already understood this. Congrats, Jeremy, on being a new YouTube member. Salute to you. Well, Christian Jan, yes, but I'm just saying most people are not on Facebook telling people. They don't respect what they do enough, or they don't think what they do is valuable, or they don't want to talk about it, or whatever. And so you just have to remember, ain't nobody gonna promote your stuff like you gonna promote your stuff, right? And again, so when we have the live webinar training, kind of breaking down the inner circle, and then having the link where you guys can call us the SEAL team, it'll be in that webinar probably tomorrow or at the latest Thursday, because I'm flying on the plane Friday. So hopefully. This is the funniest thing I saw in here today. Some people's biggest fear is working a job. I saw this and that was the funniest thing ever. My in-laws from Chicago were in town this past week. We went to a party downtown LA for a friend of theirs, and the amount of homeless and dilapidated instructor was a shock to them. Yeah. Yeah, it's real bad. There you go. Also, I posted on the wall. I don't know if you guys saw it. I posted on the wall the flag, the Mexico flag that was talking about the Moors. People were like, I don't understand it. I'm like, you don't understand that the Moors were in Mexico? But anyway, that's, a history lesson all in itself. That you can go back and see their stuff put on flags. The state flag, the government, the country's flag, because they were a menace. Okay. So anyway, you can read that on your own. But again, hopefully this was helpful. Hope you guys understand. Again, you can check out Land Grab course there. You can check out the book. And also, I think I have some of the first copies going out this week. I had to check. I got my notifications. And it'll tell me some of the people that I got it because it's a system we put it in. But hopefully everybody can take a picture with their book, and we'll keep it moving. So listen, you guys, this is your girl Erica, Classy Cloud Blog, just trying to educate. And you guys have a wonderful evening.
This is Brandy Williams of Williams Accounting and Tax Services, located in McDonough, Georgia, WilliamsActTax.com, giving a testimony to Erica Williams. Just want to thank you for all your encouragement and support. I am out here at a photo shoot for my second flip that we just finished, my first JV, which went very well. Got a book coming, Flipping with Friends in 45 days. Again, I will rave again and again about that boat party and winery that just changed my life. I met so many people, and I won't name all the names, but you know who you are. Again, I thank you for your support, and there's more to come. 2025 is just getting started. Y'all check out Erica Williams. Get the game, execute, and keep your documentation. Thank you, y'all. Bye.